Hello, thank you for visiting me today. It's an honor to have you on my channel. As always, we have been trying to have some conversation about how Scrum can be very useful and very, very much valuable for you in your different life endeavors. So today, it's not just about but today we're going to do a little bit different, something different. It is not just teaching or providing some kind of mentorship, but at the same time, recommending some reading materials that can get you up to speed in terms of what you can derive or what you can gain using Scrum. All right, so for today, I thought I could share with you some of the Scrum books I think might be very helpful in terms of recommended Scrum books for you to read. There are tons and tons of Scrum books out there, but in my own opinion, there are books different from books. You know what I mean? So there are books where other books kind of reference or kind of take some extract from. One of the things I do as a Scrum Master is each week I have to finish. It is a um, commitment where I have to finish a book or an article or complete a series of videos. The reason why I do that in part is so that there are things I can be able to gain, there are knowledge I can be able to extrapolate, and there are some kind of my experience I can be able to relate to. So in a classroom setting, there are things that a professor would teach, and then he will give kind of a resource materials for the students to read in such a way that the students can be brought up to speed. So I think I could also borrow some ideas in that line of direction. So today, I am a practicing Scrum Master. One of the things I do teach, or one of the things I do recommend to my students who enroll in Scrum class or who are under my tutelage is that I do recommend some reading materials so that when we come back to class, they can always share with me. So I think I thought I could share that with you today. Before we go into the main discussion for today, if this is the first time you're visiting my channel, thank you. I'm so happy that you thought about visiting me today. It is my honor to be able to walk you through or discuss with you in terms of Scrum and Agile. All you need to do is just to please click that subscribe button so that you will always get notification anytime I release new content. I always encourage you to please like and share any video or this video in particular to your social media platform. Refer me to your friends and even colleagues about Scrum so that we can build this community. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for trusting me and always coming back to me. As always, you know how we do as our housekeeping rule, please. If you haven't done so, subscribe, share, and like. All right, so today I'll be sharing with you my favorite three Scrum books. Right, I have read them over and over again, so I thought I could share with you. Perhaps we could always grow and learn together. The first Scrum book that I would recommend is the one written by Jeff Sunderland, who is the co-founder of Scrum. In fact, he owns or co-founded Scrum.org. If you go to Scrum.org, www.scrum.org, you see a lot of information that Jeff Sunderland has instituted. So the first is the act of doing twice the work in half the time. The first time I came across this book, I was really, I enjoyed every moment and every page that I flipped over. This is a wonderful book. So you might be saying that, oh, is JB doing a book review today? Perhaps it could be. But all I'm trying to do is to share with you some information I have learned. And I think you could also participate in my learning process. Right? So if you are a practicing Scrum Master and you are looking for a way for you to upskill yourself or get yourself up to speed with some of things that you are struggling with in your work environment, I would encourage you to please look for a way to purchase these texts. I think on Amazon, the hardcover is about 37,000 $37 Canadian dollars. Forgive me there, that was an error. 37 Canadian dollars. So if you are going to purchase it in the US dollar, it should be cheaper. But I mean, there are ways you can also get electronic copies without, without getting into copyrights, right? There are different ways you can get free copies. Well, for example, if you go to Google and then you type something like the title of the book, and then at the end you insert PDF, I think Google somehow has electronic copy, free copy, and then you can also read that electronic copy. But if you're someone that like to, have like a hard copy, which you can also make some notes as you read. I mean, on Amazon, it's about 37 Canadian dollars, cheaper in the US dollars. There are some key information I thought that makes this book so outstanding, right? It is so easy to read. You can easily relate the information in the text. One of the things that, I mean, there are a lot of things, and there are a lot of information that Jeff Sunderland shared in the text. One of the things I picked up reading that text was that as a Scrum Master, you need to make your work visible. You can agree with me that in the Scrum Guide, transparency is one of the 3 pillars of Scrum. And if we have to synonymously replace transparency, the other word we can use is visibility. For example, the Jira board or the Azure DevOps board is an information radiator. As a Scrum Master, whatever your team members are doing should be very visible on the board. One of the key reasons for you to have that on the board is so that you can track the work in progress, and you can also monitor if there is any kind of scope change. So having visibility is a key thing. In the text, Jeff Sunderland also described the daily Scrum as the heartbeat of Scrum. I mean, in fact, if you do ask me, I think that the daily Scrum is one of my Scrum favorite events. Reason being that not only that it is about 15 minutes, but at the same time, it is an opportunity that team members can inspect and adapt every 24 hours. So it's like a touch point, right? As a Scrum Master, it could be the first thing you do every morning. I mean, it doesn't have to be in the morning, but depending on your team core working hours. So Jeff Sunderland tried to shed light why the daily Scrum, even though most people do neglect it, but it's a huge way for you to inspect and adapt. Another key thing about this text is that Sunderland tries to chisel out some anti-patterns in Scrum. For example, some team members will be thinking that they are doing Scrum. You don't do Scrum, you practice Scrum. There's a difference between doing Scrum and being Scrum. Doing Scrum, in other words, is, in my own opinion, is about Scrum bots. And what is Scrum bot? In other words, is borrowing some Scrum practices in order to execute on a project, but you're not living the mindset. You're not living the mindset. Agile and Scrum is about the mindset. So there are lots of anti-patterns that Jeff Sunderland tries to give some expose in the text. And also the last but not the least of what I got from the text is about this idea of change as improvement process. Some team members don't want change, but perhaps by taking another dimension as an improvement process, it could be able to reorient the team members about their Scrum practice. There are tons and tons of information of what you could get reading this text. So I would really encourage you to please avail yourself or purchase this text. The second one I would recommend today is this text called Essential Scrum by Kenneth Rubin. This text is such a wonderful text. For someone who is still at the introductory level of Scrum, it is a highly recommend. I would highly recommend it. As even the title suggests, Essential Scrum. It takes you from what you could call as Scrum 101 to the advanced level of Scrum. It explains the why. It's not just about, introducing the Scrum artifacts and ceremonies and all of the recommendations we have in the Scrum guide. But the question is, why do we have to practice these events or these artifacts or all of these? So this particular text highlights those rationale of why you should as a team. It's not just also about bringing those rationales to the forefront, but at the same time, it tries to use some kind of diagrams to picturize what those explanations or the theories are all about. So those images and those diagrams helps to be able to helps you to have like an informed understanding about what the text is all about. I don't think in my own opinion, there are things you should know, at least to an intermediary level, about Scrum and Agile that this text wouldn't be able to highlight. So I would highly do recommend that you avail yourself this text. The last but not the least of the text I would also recommend today or review today is Scrum for Dummies by Mark C. Layton. This is also a wonderful text, wonderful in its own kind. I have read it and I would encourage you and I would recommend this text. If you are a Scrum Master, perhaps you might be thinking or wondering what is a product roadmap, what is release planning, and some of those high-level portfolio planning ceremonies or activities in Scrum. This text would teach you or highlight those information. So one of the things some of my friends who are also Scrum Masters have shared with me is the difficulty in reading those huge texts. I do understand some texts might be very discouraging because of the volume in terms of the pages. But believe me, if you can be able to finish up these texts, I do believe that there is no interview, there is no work environment in a Scrum environment that you wouldn't be able to know how to bring value. And also, this text will also point you in some directions, provide some resource materials in order for you to scale up what you have learned reading the text. So these 3 texts today I've shared with you, you can always get the electronic copy on Google. Or if you go to pdf.com, there are tons and tons of free Scrum text that you could also, avail for yourself. So, I just thought I could share these 3 with you. If perhaps you are not sure on how to get these texts or you want to share some information with me, please. As you can see on this screen, you have my email address, you have my Instagram page, you have my YouTube page. You could always email me, you could always connect with me on Instagram, you could always, even on the comment section of this content, and then ask your question and I will be able to respond to you as soon as I can. On the other hand, if you are looking for a place to enroll in Scrum class, you can always visit www.ineedscrum.com, or you could email me. We can have a free consultation and chat about that. Please, let us grow this community that I started by subscribing to my YouTube channel, by sharing my page on your social media platform, on your LinkedIn page, on your Instagram page, on your Twitter page, or your Facebook page. Let's build this community where we can share knowledge, information, and grow together when it comes to Scrum. And do believe me, Scrum could be used in any environment. It is not just for software development. You could use Scrum to plan your birthday. You could use Scrum for that wedding you were planning for, even wedding anniversary, or even the vacation, or even for your studies, for entertainment. If you're not sure about how to use Scrum in all of these, please reach out to me and I'll be able to guide and walk you through. That's where we're going to stop for today. Thank you so much for always trusting and always reaching out. It is my pleasure to share what I know, what I've experienced, and what I practice as a Scrum Master. And together we would Scrum and we can keep scrumming. In the meantime, I hope you stay well. Bye for now.